Remgro's shareholders are sitting pretty. The investment holding firm has declared a special dividend of R2 and increased its annual dividend by 30% to R3.44. This comes after Heineken bounced back to profit. The company owns about a fifth of the beer maker. Its other investments such as Mediclinic, Outsurance and Rainbow Chicken also performed well. And that contributed to a 16.5% rise in full-year intrinsic net asset value per share. Blue Label shareholders are set to vote on whether to proceed with the listing of Sept on October the 20th. The firm first announced its plans to spin off the mobile operator back in May as part of the group's restructuring. Sept has long harbored ambitions of going public. The plan was first floated by former CEO Jose dos Santos in 2018, but that came to naught as the company struggled to make a profit, making its initial public offering a challenging prospect for investors. RIC's Trueform has forecast a profit surge. The owner of Queen's Spark expects annual headline earnings per share to jump by more than 100%. The firm hasn't given a reason for the increase, but more detail will be made available when the company opens its books on the 25th of September. Capitec is pushing deeper into the telecom space with the launch of an airtime advance service. That's as it seeks to strengthen its already dominant position, which captures more than 40% of the country's airtime and data transactions. Capitec says the service, which is being rolled out in phases, is meant to help South Africans when cash is tight. The bank has capped advances at R10 during the launch phase with a R1 transaction fee and says that limit may be raised once the bank sees how clients use it. In international news, Nvidia will invest up to $100 billion in OpenAI and supply it with data center chips, marking a tie-up between two of the highest profile players in the global artificial intelligence race. Let's take a look.
Nvidia plans to invest $100 billion into ChatGPT maker OpenAI and supply it with data center chips. The companies announced the move, marking a tie-up between two leaders in artificial intelligence. A source close to OpenAI says the deal will involve two separate but intertwined transactions. Nvidia will invest in OpenAI for non-controlling shares, and the startup can then use the cash to buy chips from Nvidia. The chipmaker will invest an initial $10 billion and then start delivering hardware as soon as late 2026. The two companies signed a letter of intent to deploy at least 10 gigawatts of Nvidia systems for OpenAI. They aim to finalize partnership details in the coming weeks. Nvidia shares closed around 4% higher after the announcement. OpenAI has been working to build its own AI chips as a cheaper alternative to Nvidia, but a person familiar with the matter said its deal with Nvidia doesn't change those plans or its partnership with Microsoft, which has invested billions in OpenAI since 2019. Nvidia's investment comes days after it committed $5 billion to struggling chipmaker Intel. Analysts say the scale of the new OpenAI deal means it could attract the attention of regulators, though the Trump administration has so far taken a relatively hands-off approach to competition concerns.
And Orsted's shares jumped in early trading after a U.S. federal judge allowed the company to restart construction on its nearly completed Revolution Wind project, which was halted last month. This ruling enables Orsted to move forward with the project. Let's take a look.
Ørsted shares rose as much as 12% in early trade. Investors bought in after a US federal judge ruled the energy firm can resume work on the almost completed Revolution Wind project. US President Donald Trump's administration had stopped the scheme last month. Trump has criticised wind farms as ugly, unreliable and expensive. He's also leaned on federal agencies to curb development of wind power projects. The Danish offshore wind power developer has lost $2 million a day since August 22nd. That after the US Bureau of Ocean Energy Management issued a work stop order. It had cited unspecified national security concerns for the order. The Revolution Wind project is located 15 miles off the coast of Rhode Island on the US East Coast. It was 80% complete when the project was halted, with all offshore foundations in place and 45 of 65 wind turbines installed. Ørsted and joint venture project Skyborne Renewables have already spent or committed about $5 billion on the project.